ENG Spanish. Hey everyone, it's E from ENG Spanish Tutorials. Today we're going over the second video of double object pronouns. If you haven't seen the first, I suggest you go watch it now. This video is going to go very quickly and it assumes that you've mastered everything in the first video. The first sentence we're going to look at is, I send the letter to you. What's our step one? Ask yourself, what is the direct object? What is the who or what in this sentence? The letter. What are we going to replace it with? Me, te, lo, la, nos, los, or las. The letter is la carta, so la. What's the indirect object? To whom? To you. What's our indirect object for to you? Te. So we have our indirect object and we have our direct object. Our rule 3 says to translate the sentence without the pronouns. How do you say I send? We're going to use the verb mandar. Yo mando. I send. Rule number 4 says decide where they go. Where do your pronouns go? Which one goes first? Your direct or your indirect? Your indirect always goes first, followed by your direct. So, we already have what they are. Now where does it go? You have a conjugated verb, that's all you have. Our rules say before a conjugated verb. Yo te la mando. And we don't have to worry about the lay low part just yet. Our next sentence says, I'm going to send the letter to her. Once again, we already know our direct object, the letter. La carta. We're going to replace it with la. What is our indirect object? To whom? To her. To her. Is that me, te, le, nos, or les? To her is going to be le. Now, our next step says to translate the sentence without those pronouns. I am going to send. Voy a mandar. Here's our ir plus a plus infinitive. Now, what do? Decide where they go together. Instead of putting it before a conjugated verb like we always do, let's attach it this time. Anything that says voy a, whatever, infinitive, let's attach it to the infinitive. Now, what's our order to attach? Le first, followed by la first, right? Le, and then la at the end. It's one long word, and it's almost correct. It's not quite correct. Rule 5 says you can't lay low in Spain. This is where that comes in. You can't lay. Spanish doesn't like the la together. So what it does is it changes this le, the first le, the indirect object le, it changes it to a se. Just to keep it easier to say. Voy a mandársela. So let's replace this le with the se. Now, with accents, what I like to remember is, you can remember go a certain amount from the back, but that's kind of confusing. What I like to think about is, imagine that this se la wasn't there. How would you say this word? Imagine that's not there. Mandar. Mandar. So, if we want the word to sound the same, our accent is going to go where you hear the stress. Mandar. Because when you add all this other stuff, it just means... all you really have to know is how do you say this word without this stuff? Mandar. And wherever you hear the stress, that's where your accent goes. Mandársela. Now, if the speaker doesn't, or if the listener doesn't know who se is, remember se used to be le, but we had to change it because you don't lay low in Spain. You need to clarify, who is se? A ella. Voy a mandársela a ella. Your sentence is complete. Here's our next sentence. I am sending the letter to her now. In this sentence, I'm going to use present progressive, but let's go over our steps first. Step 1. What is your direct object? It's still la carta, so it's going to be la. What's your indirect object? Still to her, which is le. We've done step 1 and step 2. Step 3 is to translate the sentence without the pronouns. I am sending. Like I said, we're using present progressive. Estoy mandando. Now, we can put it before estoy, but let's not do that. We've already done that a million times. Let's attach it to ando, yendo, our present progressive. Which order? La le or le la? le, la. And just like our previous example, Spanish doesn't like the l together. So it changes this le to an se. Now let's imagine this isn't the last two, se la isn't there. How do we say that? Mandando. Mandando. That's where your stress is. That's where your accent needs to go. Estoy mandándosela. And if we need to clarify who se is, we'll say a ella. If you already know who this is referring to, you don't need to clarify again. Here we have a very similar sentence. However, now it's a command. Send a letter to her. What's our direct object? The letter. La carta. We're going to use la. To whom? To her. That's our indirect object. Le. Send. We're going to use usted commands, assuming that's all you know at this point. If you know more, then you can use it with more. Send. Mandar. Our usted command is mande. Now what do we do? With commands, if the command is affirmative, like this one is, we have to attach it. Mándele la. Eventually you're going to get to the point where you realize Spanish doesn't like the la together. So let's erase the first le and put se. Now where does our accent go? Imagine those last two aren't there. Mande. Mande. It's on the A. Mándesela. And of course, if the listener doesn't know who he's referring to, a ella. Now what if we said, don't send a letter to her? No. When our command is negative, all our pronouns have to go before the command. No se la mande. And you can say a ella at the end if you want. No se la mande. Our next sentence, Lisa lends us them. The them in this sentence is going to be las películas, the movies. What is our direct object in this sentence? Them, because we're talking about las películas. What are we going to replace it with? Mete, lo, la, nos, los, or las. Las. We're going to replace this with las. Here's your indirect object. What is to us? Nos. So we've established our indirect object, we've established our direct object. Next step, conjugate this sentence, or translate the sentence as is without those pronouns. Lisa lends. Lisa, the verb is prestar. Lisa presta. Next, where do these go? Before a conjugated verb. Here's our conjugated verb. Lisa, which order? Nos las or las nos? Your indirect object is always first. Nos las presta. Do we need to clarify this? No, because nos, who else is it going to? It's going to us. There's no lay low here. N and le, they're not two L's, so don't worry about that. You're done with that one. Here's our next sentence. Lisa is going, in the future, Lisa is going to lend us them. Them is still las películas. So what's our direct object? Las. Our indirect object is still nos, to us. Lisa is going to. Let's conjugate this translate this without the pronouns. Lisa va a prestar. Now let's attach this. Let's not put it before. Let's attach it. Which one goes first? Nos. Followed by las. Do we have to worry about lelo here? No, because it's nos las. It's not lelo, it's n-le. So don't worry about that. Now accent. Imagine that's not there. Prestar. Prestar. There's the stress. There's your accent. Lisa va a prestarnoslas. Okay, this sentence we're going to translate in the present progressive. Lisa is lending you them. Let's make the them be los libros, the books. Los libros. So what is our indirect object? What is our direct object? Lisa is lending you what? The books. We're going to replace this with los. To whom? To you. In this sense, we're going to use te. So we have our indirect object, we have our direct object. Next step, translate this as is, in present progressive. Lisa está prestando. What attaches to ando yendo? First your indirect, followed by your direct. Do we have to worry about lelo? No, because that's telo. So don't worry about changing that to se. You don't have to do that. Now imagine telos is not there. How do you say this? Prestando. Prestando. Here's your stress. That's where your accent should be. Prestando. And finally, do we need to clarify anything? No, we don't need to clarify te. Who else could it be? To you. Another example is lend them to me. Lend them to me. What is, where them is going to be los libros again. So what is our direct object? Who or what? Los libros. There's our direct object. To whom? To me. There's our indirect object. The verb is prestar. Let's make that into an usted command. Preste. Now, it's an affirmative command, so what's our rule say? We have to attach these to the end. In what order? Me first, your indirect object first, followed by your direct object. Now imagine those aren't there. Preste. Where's the stress? Preste. This E or this E? Preste. The first E. So that's where our accent goes. Prestemelos. Prestemelos. And we don't need to clarify because this is not se. We don't have to clarify that. Okay, so we'll have more practice in our following video. Thanks for watching.